In terms of the fourth quarter, they had all but one of their buckets was inside the paint. Was that them just being able to get into the paint and get whatever they want because of that point of attack defense like you were talking about?
Yeah, they had that and 9 free throws.
The Indiana Fever were rolling. Unstoppable, ruthless, dominant. They demolished Paige Buchers and the Dallas Wings, crushed the Minnesota Lynx to claim their first Commissioner's Cup title, and humiliated Aya Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces in a 3-game winning streak that set the league on fire.
Finding out this morning that we probably need to hold out again today. It's just, it really is a day-to-day thing. And I think for us, making sure that we're prioritizing her long-term health and wellness. It's anybody who's had some of these types of injuries understand that sometimes it's a process. She's a quick healer, and she's been doing everything that she can to get back on the floor. So, we just want to make sure that we're hypersensitive to the big picture.
Even without Caitlin Clark, expectations were sky high as they faced off against the struggling Los Angeles Sparks. But what unfolded was an absolute disaster, one driven not by effort or talent, but by officiating so outrageous that head coach Stephanie White could only mutter 5 damning words exposing everything wrong with the WNBA. Clark was sidelined with a groin injury, her 5th missed game.
What does it take to get a team to be more consistent, especially from you on the coaching side of things?
Yeah, I think a couple things. There's always got to be a high attention to knowing personnel. Oftentimes you don't get a lot of practice time, and so going over a lot of their sets, which you do, but at the end of the day, making sure we know our personnel, who we're going to run off the 3-point line, what we're willing to give up. We've got to make sure that there's a high attention to detail there.
While Dewana Bonner left the team and Damiris Dantas was away representing her country. Despite those losses, ESPN gave the Fever a 73% chance to win, and oddsmakers favored them by 6.5. The Fever, with stars like Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Natasha Howard, still had enough firepower to beat the floundering Sparks, or so we thought. But as the game progressed, their offensive chemistry, once powered by Clark, began to unravel.
Howard looking backdoor for Mitchell, not there. Shot clock down to 7. McDonald feed inside, and it's Howard for 2. It's good record.
Even so, Boston delivered a dominant 23-point, 12-rebound night on 9 of 17 shooting. Mitchell dropped 19 points and crossed the 250-game mark in franchise history, second only to Tamika Catchings. And Howard lit up the scoreboard with 21 points and 9 rebounds, shooting 8 of 11 and making clutch plays on both ends. Together, they should have sealed the win. But the refs had other plans.
Here's Mitchell off the screen, but can't connect on the 3. Boston offensive rebound, rolls it in, and a foul. The 2 bigs bring the ball up the floor, and Hamby wasn't ready for that.
How about that change of pace and burst like a guard, gets downhill to the rim.
Sophie Cunningham was grabbed by the neck, no foul. Boston was whistled for 3 fouls without contact. Michaela Onyenware got called for back-to-back fouls, even as she was the one getting hit. The officiating reached absurd levels, with every Fever surge killed by a whistle.
Lob inside, Boston too far underneath, shot clock down to 5, kick out Mitchell, oh yes!
Even the broadcast crew was stunned into silence. The comeback was right there, Boston dominating inside, Mitchell draining clutch shots, Howard making elite veteran plays. But call after call stripped the Fever of any chance to close the game. In the end, it wasn't just a loss, it was a robbery. The players fought like champions, but the referees turned the game into a joke. If you're tired of refs deciding games instead of players, speak up.
Look, there are going to be days where you make shots and miss shots. That's part of it. That's why I thought, AB had a really good look at the end. And so sometimes it just doesn't fall your way. So we're looking more about execution. I didn't feel like our execution was all that good at the end. I felt like in our reset timeout, it wasn't very good either. And, that's on us, continuing to make sure that we are going over that, as often as possible when we have our practice time, and making sure that we're sharp in those areas.
The Indiana Fever were on fire, coming off a jaw-dropping 3-game winning streak where they steamrolled Paige Buchers and the Dallas Wings. dominated the Minnesota Lynx for their first-ever Commissioner's Cup, and completely dismantled Aya Wilson and the reigning champion Las Vegas Aces, all without missing a beat.
In terms of the fourth quarter, they had all but one of their buckets was inside the paint. Was that them just being able to get into the paint and get whatever they want because of that point of attack defense like you were talking about?
Yeah, they had that and 9 free throws.
So when they walked into a matchup with the struggling Los Angeles Sparks, even without superstar Caitlin Clark, everyone expected business as usual. But what happened instead will infuriate every true basketball fan. With Clark still sidelined by a groin injury, Damiris Dantas off representing Brazil, and Dana Bonner quitting the team altogether.
Here is Boston on a handoff to Cunningham. Head full of steam to the rim, and a foul. Cunningham and one.
I mean, this is just a really good screen by Boston to give her a step. The switch. Sophie's having a good time.
The Fever were shorthanded, but still heavily favored, backed by a 72.9% win prediction and a 6.5-point Vegas spread. Even without their full squad, the Fever had more than enough with elite talents like Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Natasha Howard ready to carry the load. And carry they did.
Comes up with the block. Colson launch ahead. Oh, a la Caitlin Clark.
Boston dropped 23 points and 12 boards. Mitchell added 19 points and nailed key threes. And Howard was electric with 21 points on 8 of 11 shooting. But their efforts were brutally undercut by some of the worst officiating we've seen all season. Calls were missed, phantom fouls were handed out, and the referees seemed determined to shift momentum in the Sparks' favor.
And then Aaliyah Boston, like I said, she didn't touch her. They put her in foul trouble all season long. They're just calling stuff to call stuff. The refs made this game about them. Aaliyah Boston, again, she's an all-star player. Look at these hits. Good thing Caitlin Clark didn't play because it was just a sloppy basketball game between the officials and the Los Angeles Sparks. Look at this. They called this a foul instead of a block. And then there's Aaliyah Boston again. That's 3 fouls where she didn't touch anybody. And that's our best player and wonder why we lose this game. Michaela Timpson, watch these 2 calls in a row. She didn't do anything. She got hit on that one and they called a foul on her.
Sophie Cunningham was blatantly grabbed by the neck with no whistle. Boston picked up multiple fouls without contact. And Michaela Onyenware was penalized twice for simply existing on defense. The frustration on the players' faces told the whole story. Despite a heroic effort from their core, the Fever saw their comeback ripped away by biased whistles and one-sided decisions that defied logic. This wasn't a game, it was a mockery, and fans, players, and even the broadcasters knew it. If you're passionate about real basketball talk, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, leave a comment, and share with fellow fans, because your support keeps the game alive.